we're just so excited about having this young man. He's so easy to understand. He breaks it down so simple. He's out the South Carolina area. He's out there, and his lovely wife, they're both regional directors. They got regional directors that popping in the organization, 3 of them, and they're that close to regional vice president. He just get it done, get her done, get her done. He hails from Summersville, South Carolina, was selling cars for the car business, did well in network marketing. My previous company, he was a senior SVP in my previous company, which means he'll be one of those over here as well. Without further ado, from the Summersville, South Carolina area, the one and only, the Mr. Curtis Evans.
Good to see some smiling faces when we were out in Oklahoma City. That's my first time there. I was raised first grade through third grade, something like that, in Texas, Austin, Texas, but that's Tornado Alley. But it was a beautiful city. It was flat, big sky country. One of the things you'll like about network marketing over the years is you'll get a chance to go places you wouldn't normally go. You would go to cities, states, countries that you wouldn't normally go. And so they put a lot on the plate for us. We enjoyed it all. It was interesting. Hopefully we'll. I know those that went to the convention know a lot about it, I guess, from the phone calls, and I won't dwell on that a lot today. But what I wanted to talk to you about is the former company that I worked for before I got started. I was a regular guy. I got started into network marketing. Kind of crazy how it happened. Like I told you the security guard came to me, and same thing with the speaker that closed Friday night. Somebody came to me that was making less money than you, and they are trying to explain to you how you can go and make some real money. And it's kind of twist your head up a little bit because you're making more money than he is, and he's telling you how to let's go make some real money. And so you don't pay him a whole lot of attention at first. But I don't know how he did it, but he talked me into going to an event. Okay, and the event was a business presentation. I went and he said, if you go, I won't bother you no more. And he didn't. He took me to business presentation. He didn't do a good job of following up. I signed up a few months later and got started and got on the road. Now, the reason I say that, he got me to go to an event. Okay. Now today we're fortunate. The event is on Zoom. The event is a meeting tonight. You don't have to, if you're in a big city like Oklahoma City or Los Angeles or Las Vegas or Charleston, some of these cities, when you say, oh, my cousin lives in Charleston, well, it might take you 2 hours to get across Charleston. We think just because they live in that town and they're going to have a meeting in that town that you're going to be able to get there. But people get off from work 5 o'clock and the meeting starts at 7. In the old days, the meeting started at 7 o'clock, and a lot of times they went home, and if they went home, it was over. They're not coming back out. But nowadays, that meeting, that first event, is on Zoom, so they get to go home and chill out a little bit, and then your meeting starts at 7, 8, and you'll be able to invite them to it. That's great. So picking people is really important to get their attention. Now, the guy got my attention because I was making more money than he was, but he got my attention, okay? And he came back 2 or 3 times to get me to come to the event. That's okay. Most people don't get it the first time. They don't really understand what you're talking about. It's strange. This is not taught in school. It's not a normal thing. And so it was really great. But I'll tell you that meeting, which I did not understand at all. I'm going to tell you, when somebody sees a presentation first time, they probably won't. There's a high chance they don't understand what you're talking about. So don't take them saying no, or I got to get back with you, I got to think about this. Don't take that as a no. They need another exposure and another exposure so they can understand it. Now, I want you to think about your situation. You didn't understand it at first either. And then little by little, you got a chance to understand it. Now, but the thing that got me is as soon as I signed up, they told me that I needed to be in Florence, South Carolina. I mean, I signed up one night and they said, next Saturday morning, you need to be in Florence, South Carolina. There's an event. I went to the event and they had some big money earners there and they were talking big numbers. I can't describe. I signed up with a guy by the name of Kenny Milton. He took me to the meeting, and people on the stage kept talking about Kenny. I thought they were talking about Kenny Milton, the guy next to me. I said, this guy must be something. He's a regular guy around Orangeburg, but he's big here. And they were talking about Kenny Trout, the guy that ran the old company. And so there was Beth Henson, there was Jimmy Dick, there were, all kind of money earners at that event. I'm gonna tell you right now, had not gone to that event, I probably would have played this off. It only cost $500 to get started. If it didn't work, well, it didn't work. It's not like I spent $10,000 to get into business, but getting me to that event helped considerably. And then he said, you need to go to Atlanta. About 3 weeks later, you need to go to Atlanta. This guy down there by the name of Ronnie Kirkland, he'll show you how to make it work. And so I went to that event. And when I got to that event, Ronnie was screaming about going to Dallas. You guys need to go to Dallas. He said, and this is what Ronnie said, I promise you, if you don't go to Dallas, you won't be in this business next year. I promise you. If you don't go to Dallas, you're gonna miss an explosion. And he spelled it out so well that I started putting my pennies and nickels together, and I went to Dallas. And Al Thomas would tell you how there's a hotel in Dallas called the I can't think of the name of it now. I can't think of the name of the hotel. Anatole, that's right. Anatole is at the time the largest hotel in Texas, and then we were at an arena. It was you got to get to an event. Had not gone to that event, I wouldn't have known. I saw people that looked like me. I saw people that had backgrounds like I did. I saw people from all places and stages of life doing very, very well. There's so many people making $50,000 a month that the owner didn't know who they were. It was just that many people doing very, very well. And I got a chance to go to that event. And today, this is years later, I can't tell you the power of getting your people to an event. It's the hardest thing to do, but it makes up for people that can't get customers. If you have a hard time getting customers, that's fine. Keep working at it. If you're having a hard time getting IBOs, we got a system, but keep working at it, okay? But if you can get people to events, it'll solve all that. All that is solved because at events, people make decisions. They make big decisions at events. They're sitting at the event and they see Al Thomas go on stage and Al telling his story. And they say, well, I know somebody like Al, and they're writing his name down. Or they'll see Pat Mazur go across stage and they'll say, I know someone like Pat. They'll see a postman go across stage. They'll say, I know a postman. They will see people that will remind them of other people. And you'll see them getting up and going and making a phone call. They'll call in people from the event. Joe, when I get back to town, you and I need to talk. Harry, when I get back to town, you and I need to talk. That happens at events. Another thing that happens at the events is you get to go up to Al Thomas and shake his hand. You actually talk to him. He can talk to you. Y'all, eyeballs to eyeballs. You'll be able to see people in the business that are doing well, and you'll be able to talk to them. You'll be able to converse with them. And it seems like a little thing, but it makes a huge difference. Your confidence level goes up. And at your first or maybe your second event, you'll make a decision. You know what your decision will be? I will be an RD. I will be an RD. It's because when you're sitting in the crowd and you see that many people go across the stage as RDs, you're sitting there and saying to yourself, hold that now. I thought it was hard to get there. We had 100 people go across the stage as RDs. We saw that many people go across stage as RVPs. What does it do to your level? Corbin McRae, he got a chance to take a picture with Cowboy and Swaggerty and 5 or 6 other people. I'm telling you now, it makes a difference. And when you come back, this is what you are. You are bulletproof. You're bulletproof. When you come back, you're bulletproof. Something that would have knocked you out of the picture before, your smart cousin or your smart uncle or your best friend, that the one you were raised with, that told you that won't work. What would have knocked you out of the business? Now you're going to look back at them and say, you don't know what you're talking about. I saw this. There are people just like you working. In fact, there's a guy that worked at a place just like you. I know he's at this level. And so the guy said, oh, and then that's your next IBO. So getting yourself to an event first is a challenge. Get there. And then the next challenge is how to get other people to events. Now you're playing hardball. It's the one thing for you to go. And what would I recommend for you to do? The first thing you need to do is come back and register for the next event. If you get registered, that's a big deal right there. Now, I think we got one in Dallas in a month or so, a month and a half or so. Get registered for the event. There's another one in, as he mentioned, in October, the last up in the 1st of October. And so the first thing to do is get registered for the event. What does it cost? The last one was $129. So get $65 from last week, $65 this week, go into savings, do what you got to do, get the money for the event and get signed up. Okay. That's the first thing. And the second thing, on your team, look for 1 or 2 or 3 people that are on your team. If you got a bunch of girls, if you're a girl and you got some girls, you can get 1 room and 4 girls go in a room, 3 girls go in that room. If you're a guy, get a couple of guys, 3 or 4 guys to go into the room. You're going to need to get creative. And you got to do something that most people have a hard time doing, getting people to go to events. And why? Because people are, and this is before the pandemic, I don't know what it is. People somehow think that if they get on that airplane, they're going to get killed. You're safer in that plane. You're safer in that airplane. Then you'll have a higher chance of getting killed in a car going to the airport or getting killed in a car coming from the airport than you will on the plane. Okay, the safest way to travel, because I don't know about you guys, but when you're up in the air, there are no more planes up there with you. You're up there by yourself. You can't run into another plane, you know? And so you're safe or in a plane. Statistically, you're way safer in a plane than on the ground. So, but people got this thing, they heard about this plane that crashed 10 years ago, or they heard about a plane, they heard something happened in 1929, and they're talking about the Hindenburg. They're talking about all kinds of stuff. It don't make any sense. But you got to tell them, we can do this. Get them confident. I'm going, you're going with me, I'm going with you. Together, we'll get this done. And you get them to come to the event. The second thing I want you to do is get them to buy their plane ticket. Now, if the plane ticket is $300 or $400, $300, wherever it is, round trip, I'll tell you, it's hard to beat it. If you're in a car, you can drive there if you're close. But I'm telling you, when you have one wreck on the road and you sit there for 3 hours till they clear the traffic, and then you had a flat tire, if you can fly, if you can, okay? We'll break the ticket down. If it's 3 months to the event, that's $50, and then get your ticket, okay? You borrow money for everything else, go to a finance company, borrow the money to go on this trip. This is investing in yourself. This is investing in yourself. And then you have to teach other people how to do that. Now, this is the hardest part now. I'm gonna teach you the hardest part. The hardest part about getting people to the event is this: telling their best friend, telling their sister, telling their mama, telling their wife, telling their husband, no, I can't do it that week because I'll be out of town. So you teach your folks to say, I cannot do it because I'll be out of town. And you'll find that they'll find somebody else to do it. They won't stop you from going out of town. But if you don't bring up the fact that you're going out of town that weekend, then they're going to have something for you to do. Somebody's birthday party is a 2-year-old's birthday party, a 3-year-old's birthday party they want you to go to. And there's something that they want you to do that week, but you can't go. Why? Why? Because you'll be out of town. And when you say I'm out of town, it's something clicks in their head. I got to find somebody else. You'll see it. If you look at them when you say, you don't have to tell them why you're going. You say, I'm going out of town. I'll be in Vegas on that weekend. I'll be in Florida that weekend. I'll be in Dallas that weekend. I'll be in Detroit that weekend. And you'll notice that they will say what? Because a lot of people say, well, I would go and I was planning to go, but someone called me and told me A, B, C, D, and so I can't go, you know? And so what you simply have to do before they come back to you on that is teach them how to say no, okay? And now they can do this because if the boss asks them to work Saturday, right? They'll tell you no, I can't do it. I got to work Saturday. I can't do it. I got to work Friday night. I got to work second shift next week. They would tell you no for somebody else, but for their own selves, you got to learn how to do that. So you got to teach your people, protect them from their people. Their people are going to have something for them to do just cause. I don't know what that's about, but just cause. And be prepared for some people getting sick. I don't know why people get sick the week of the conventions. The week before the conventions, something happened to the uncle, something happened. And that's going to happen. But if they got to be at the event. So I want you got to get good at getting people to the event because you can't do what the event will do for them. And the reason I'm so passionate about it is this: if I hadn't gone to Florence, Atlanta, and to Dallas, I would have never got to be ESD. And the ESD, like Al said, is comparable to a SVP in our current business. In fact, they had a level above ESD or above SVP. The level above SVP was ambassador. Okay, if you were an ambassador, that means you got paid for every rep in the whole organization, the whole company. They took all the money the company had and brought in, There's 1% of that, and they'll split it between the people that were ambassadors. You got to split, okay? And so it was a crazy system that they had, and we may have that one day here. But the thing I want to tell you about that is this right here. There's no ambassadors that weren't ESDs. There's no SVPs that didn't turn into what? RVPs. There's no RVPs that didn't go through what? RD. Okay, there are no RDs that weren't RCs, and there aren't any RCs that weren't ETLs. There aren't any ETLs that weren't CQs, and there weren't any CQs that weren't IBOs. So you got to go through the stairway to success, and the way to get through there fast. Michael Crowder told me this. The way to get there fast is to get 3 legs to your first event. If you can get 3 legs to your first event, you're an RD. if you can get if you can get Joe and 2 people with Joe in this room, and Mary with 3 people with Mary in that room, and Harry with 3 people with Harry in this other room, if you can pull that off in your first 5 or 6 months in the business, my friend, you are an RD. You're an RD because they saw what you saw. And so sometimes when you're upset because somebody got promoted fast, you're saying, I don't know my people, the people in my town, you don't know the people in my city, you don't know the people in my town. You know, I heard that so much, and it's true. I don't know the people in your town, but I do know if you get 3 of them on 2-3 legs of them to this event, I do know you're an RD. Because when they come back, they're racing to what? Regional director. On their way to regional director, they kick you over. Guess what? When they come back the next time, they're going to bring people. And it just goes, and that's just the way it goes. That's the power of an event. So at this event, we came out with some health insurance, right? The place was screaming, everybody was jumping up and down, doing barrel rolls I mean, it was just, everybody was going nuts. How do you bring that back? This is what they're going to tell you at the event. I mean, when you go to the event, Catherine Williams, Catherine, I want you to go to the event, and when you come back, you tell us what happened. That won't work. That will not work. That's like when you go to the Super Bowl, and when you come back, you tell us what happened. It just don't work. So you have to get them to come to the event. Now I'm making it sound hard because it is hard. It's hard because you got to hear all that junk they got to come back at you with. But your posture, Al talks about posture, your posture will get them to the event. They're going to come up with some things. I mean, my puppy had kittens. You never believe what happened. My puppy had some kittens. It's the first time it's ever happened. I don't know. My cat had some puppies, and it's kind of strange. I don't know. You never believe what happened to me. I mean, you're going to hear some stories. You're going to hear some stories. You're going to hear some stories. And then you're going to just be chuckling inside. And then you say, well, I'm sorry to hear that. But guess what? Are you going to be there Friday morning or Friday afternoon? There's a way you talk about the event. No, I told you my puppy has some kittens. You're going to have some posture. It's going to have to mean that you're serious about this. Okay. And then be prepared to leave some people behind because you're going to the event with the other 4 people. But again, how do you get promoted? You get 3 or 4 legs in your organization to get to the event. And my friend, I'm telling you now, you're an RD. You know, that it could take you 3 years to do that the hard way. It could take you 2 years to do that the hard way, or a year to do that the hard way. Or you can just get real serious with 3 or 4 people and get them serious and get it off and get it running. Does that make sense to everybody? It solves a lot of problems. It solves a lot of problems. Now you're gonna have to man up or woman up on this thing because it's not gonna be especially easy. I'm making it sound easy, but it's not easy, okay? Break up the thing, get your ticket, start planning for your other tickets, I mean, for your plane tickets and all. And then the room, you got 4 people in the room, I mean, you just split that up, you know, and see what they need help in. Just ask them, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help you now? That's crucial. Just look at me in the eye because I really want you there. What can I do to help you? Okay. And see what they is. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's encouragement. Sometimes if you can just talk to my brother, or sometimes if you talk to my husband, somebody talk to, you know, sometimes they need help. Sometimes they just need help. I don't know what that may be, but you got to be there. But getting people to events is going to solve a lot of problems. And when you get good at that, and you got 4 or 5 people that's good at that, and they got 5 or 6 or 8 people that's good at that, you'll see, how did he get to RVP so fast? He got there because he got people to events. Okay. All right. So I know I'm preaching to a choir here. I got a little short video I want to show you. I got just enough time to do it. And so we're gonna play this. I want you to listen real carefully. And it's about, well, guess what? Events. Okay, let's get there.
Let's say you want to get 100 people at an event. Let me give you some training on how to do that. I'm a ninja at doing this. I'm world class. There's very few people that are better at me at promoting a company destination event. This is what made up for most of my lack of ability and lack of skill, was this skill. So let's say you have an event in September, and your goal is to put 100 people into that event. Number one, you have to know what the date is. You got to know where the location is. And you got to take a look at what you have in raw materials from your team in order to be able to work with. And some of you have a team to work with, and some of you, the team's going to be no good. You're going to have to do this with a fresh team. So if the team's no good, then that's fine. But let's say you got 10 people on the team. If you have 10 people on the team, it's your job to crawl inside their mind as a leader and say, let's each of us get 10. Let's come up with a strategy. Let's come up with training. Let's come up with competition. Let's come up with recognition programs and incentives and peer pressure and constant communication. Let's talk about it all the time. Let's meet with your people. Let's call everybody on the team. Let's call our customers, invite them. Let's everybody on the team recruit one person this month and invite them to the company convention. Let's solve all the problems. Let's figure out the babysitters. Let's carpool. Let's share hotel rooms. Let's do whatever we got to do in order to be able to make this happen. Let's eliminate all the excuses. Let's go have an adventure. Let's go do something outrageous. Let's change our family history for forever. Let's do it. Let's go. Come on, you plus me. If you have one person on your team, it's enough. I'm in. You in? It's one person on your team is enough. Say, come on, you and me. It's just the two of us. But 2 people can conquer the world. Come on, let's go. You recruit 10 people, and I'm going to recruit 10 people. We'll have 20 people, and then we'll get each of those, and we'll help each of those get 5. We'll get 120. We'll have more tickets sold than we even have space for. Let's just do it. Let's shock the world. Let's freak out our families. Let's shut up every person who's ever doubted us for our entire lives. Every person that said, no, we can't do it. See what I mean? So you plant a vision and say, come on, let's go change the world. We got this, you got this. Yes, there's going to be distractions. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, there's going to be issues. But so what? The story of what we're going to do is going to be told by the entire company. We're going to be the biggest story in the entire company 6 months from now, 8 months from now, because of the decision we made. Matter of fact, let's take a picture of the moment we made the decision and let's sign it. Let's put it on the wall. Let's tell the world this is where it started. This was the garage of Apple Computer. Let's make it so. You see what I'm saying? So casting that vision is one, and then you got to put together a strategy around that. How are we going to do it? Are we going to name our campaign about these events? Are we going to name it something? Are we all going to wear the same color t-shirt or whatever when we show up? What are we going to do? What's our strategy? See, here's posers inside of network marketing. You know what they do when it comes to events? They announce, hey, there's going to be an event in September. Amateurs, you know what they do? They invite, hey, you should come with me. Join me at this event in September. It's going to be fun. You know what professionals do? They promote, and they're relentless. They will not stop. Everybody says, enough, oh, come on, there's more to life than this event. And they say, no, there's not. We're doing this. We're making it happen. We're making it so. If you have any doubt in your mind, don't hang around us, because guess what? We're going. We're doing this. We're making it happen. Do you feel the energy of how I talk to people when it comes to growing something?
Absolutely.
We're going to go after it. Why do I talk like that and why do I believe like that? Because guess what? When I get around this guy, I'm the emotional security blanket for him. I've got to have my belief so high, so red hot, that he says, I just got to be around that. Because I let life get in the way. If I get around him, all those distractions are going to pale. They're going to disappear. And I'm going to stay focused on my dream. So, your events are big. They're huge. They're massive. Some of you, I think you're going to earn significantly more than $1,000 a year. You come back to this event. Some of you should get 10 tickets or more to this event. You haven't decided to for whatever reason. That's up to you. But here's what I'm telling you. You make the decision, you say yes, tell the world, and then figure it out. It's going to change your whole life. That's all. How many people wish you had more people at this event? Raise your hands. The only reason why I encourage you to come back is because I know it's going to help. But you know what's sad? Even though I'll love to see you again, is if you let life get in the way and it's just you again. Instead of you plus 100. You changing your team's perception of the world. So, event strategy. It's the easiest shortcut I know to going to the top, because it overcomes all these other lack of skill that are out there in the profession. So proclaim it. Tell everybody you're going to do it. Be relentless. Go crazy.
I mean, those are skill sets. And I mean, I love to make them sound easy. They're not. You got to pick it up. You'll learn over time that your money came from Bob Meyer. The number one money earner in your organization is Bob Meyer. He's kicking butt. And you remember, you almost had to cuss him. Everybody's clapping because Bob's going across stage as the SVP, and they all jumped up and down and screaming and all that. And you remember, you almost had to cuss him out to get him to go to his first event. But he went, and he said, oh my goodness. And the next event he brought 10 back, and the next event he brought 30 back, and the next event he had 100, and then one day he's the SVP. So that is our challenge, okay? That is the work that we have to do. We have to do a lot of things. We got to learn how to peak. We got to learn how to get that person on the phone with Al, the RVP, or RD above you, so they can say something to him, because it's a team sport. We're sponsoring people. It's just not something you do by yourself. It's a team sport. They saw more people. They went to the Zoom call. They saw other people. You got them on a call with Al. You got them on a call with Julian. You got them on a call with Brian or somebody. You got them on a call with somebody. And they said, oh, it's just more than just you in this thing. Yeah, you edified a person. They got on a Zoom call that night. They liked what they saw, and they took off. I was with a young man who'd been in the business a year and a half. He was 32 years old, and he had 240 something people in his IBOs in his group. 240 IBOs in his group in a year and a half. And I was all ears. Okay, and if I didn't go to the event and got in line at the taco truck outside, I would have never met the guy. So you're going to meet people that are going to teach you and help you right there at the event. So if we're going to talk about going to the event, Al's group or whoever's group you're in, Julian's group or whoever's group you're in, you need to be the biggest group at that next event. It needs to be the biggest group at that next event. And however you get there is however you got there. I had one guy slept in the lobby. We didn't know the next morning that he slept in the lobby. He went from one lobby to the other. He slept some here and here. Next morning, we told him, man, you could have got in the bathtub. We had a whole bathtub up here. You know, it was fun. We had fun going to this event. So thank you very much. I hope it helps you. I mean, and I'm going to tell you, there's nobody that got to the top of this. Nobody that got to the top of this without events. Nobody. I mean, nobody did the SVP thing and said, I never went to the event. In fact, none of my people went to the events. I didn't go to the events, and I'm an SVP. That never happened, okay? So if we know that, then we know what we need to do. Thank you all very much. That takes care of what I have for today. I'll turn it back over to Al.